are, okay, so Julie I'm going to welcome any guests. Julie, do we have any guests?
We do not have any guests.
Oh,
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's 5 of us. There's a quorum. There's a quorum. Yes, we have a quorum. And then do you want to go over the meeting protocol, or do we have to if there's no one here?
I think we're good.
Right. We're recording. Okay. Are there modifications to the agenda? Okay, let me just say that the people that are here are me, Emily Hauser, Secretary Kevin McAvoy, Anita Collins, Theodore Greiser, and Grise, and Julie Noble. And we expect Helen shortly, I believe. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
And Sebastian is absent. Okay. Any modifications to the agenda? Okay, hearing none. Does everyone have a copy of the agenda somewhere? Okay. So we're going to review and approve, hopefully, the monthly meeting, January meeting. I had sent corrections. I don't know if anyone else, did anyone else? No.
no, I don't think so. But I'm good with what you did, though. That's fine.
Okay. So can I have a motion to accept as corrected or amended or whatever?
So move.
Okay. Anita,
Okay. All right, second.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right. Are there any? Okay, so let's keep going. Old business, wood smoke.
Well, vote. Yes, aye.
Oh, yeah, vote.
Aye
All
on
right,
minute.
everyone. Okay. All right, all in favor of accepting the amended minutes? Okay, 4-0. All right, I feel like this is there's just going to be a lot of report outs on today's
Mhm.
agenda. So, and let me know if you want to see anything or anything like that. So, wood smoke and air quality subcommittee. Is there anything to report?
I did have a meeting with folks from BARD yesterday. And they are putting together they have been gathering the data for the last 2 years now from the Andy Murphy Center, and they have compiled all of that and are putting out a press release, I guess, of that data. So we went over it, and they're going to be sending me a draft of some information that I will post on the website and also put out somehow through the city. I don't know if it'll be a press release or on the mayor's newsletter or something. Of the data for the last 2 years. They did not do anything with the MOU yet. They had said that they're going to be working on a draft MOU with the city. It's in their hands right now and they haven't moved that forward, so we're waiting on that. And I guess that's it.
Right there.
I believe that's all.
Okay. Is there anything, I wanted to report on car idling. I just want to say that I went sledding at Forsyth Park and there were quite a few parents sitting in their cars. Running the engine, does that count as allowed?
Oh, not unless it's for less than 10 minutes. Yeah, so we have produced the signs. I spoke with Department of Public Works just yesterday about it. They said that they will be beginning to put up the signs any moment. And I believe one of them is slated for Forsyth Park. So
Oh, yeah, I misspoke. I went to Kennedy to
Hasbro.
Hasbrook.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
so
there's
they
not a
were
lot of
all
hills at
parked.
Forsyth.
I know, sorry. They were all parked at, at the,
JFK.
that little stone building. Yeah,
Oh,
because you couldn't get up the hill farther than that.
right, because of the gate.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't read the law, but weren't there some exceptions for extreme temperatures for cold?
There are, but actually it's, the lower temperature is actually based on if there's a snow emergency. So if there happened to be a snow emergency at that time, then they would have an exemption. But
Okay,
It was a school snow day, which is why I was there. But I wouldn't say. Okay,
so yeah, you should start to see the signs up around town. They happen to be in this middle of this process where they're had to produce like lots and lots of stop signs and lots of snow emergency routes because they just redid the snow emergency routes and all the anti-idling signs. So I guess it's taking a little while to put up the signs for whatever reason, but I have been told it should be any time. Either way, whether or not the signs are up, the legislation started January 1st.
and has there been any tickets?
That's a good question. I do not know the answer to that, but I will find out.
Great, thank you. Okay, any other question, anyone else on that? Okay, open space planning, community preservation plan.
Great, so since the last meeting, we had put out a request for proposals for a consultant for the community preservation plan. We also finalized the contract with the state. And so we are in full contract now, and the RFP went out and it was sent. It was posted in all the normal locations and sent to directly to many different firms. And the RFPs were due, the responses were due on the 10th. We received 3 that were eligible, and our committee reviewed them over the long weekend there. And we had a meeting this morning and reviewed,
cool.
went over the RFPs, and we ended up choosing Behan.
Oh, okay.
So Behan Planning is the same firm that did the open space plan. They have not been alerted yet, so I probably shouldn't have said that, but that's who we chose. And they will be told within the next couple of days. And so once that award is made official, then we will enter into contract and set and in the meantime, while the contract is being developed, I will be pulling together the project advisory committee, and we'll have a kickoff meeting as soon as the contract is firm and executed. And then we'll have our kickoff.
So for the advisory committee, do you pretty much have everyone lined up?
No. Do you have
Okay.
people in mind?
I checked my one person and she wasn't interested. So,
Okay. All right.
um,
Thanks for looking. I have some people in mind, but no, I haven't done that yet, and I don't have the names firm. So if
Okay.
people have ideas for folks, let me know.
are there any categories that you're lacking?
I haven't really gotten that far yet.
Okay.
Once I think of that and kind of flesh it all out, I will reach out and let you all know if there's gaps and I'm looking for specific people.
Okay.
And several of us are going to be on the committee, right?
Yeah, I think that I had commitment from Emily, Kevin, and Ted, right?
Mhm.
Okay, great.
And Helen and Anita were in the selection committee?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Met this morning.
Was that a good
It's good.
process?
Yeah, it was a good process.
Yeah.
Again, there was 3 respondents, and we had a good discussion, and there was unanimous consent on the decision. So we are
Well,
excited.
Thanks for turning it around so fast.
Yeah.
Also,
We need
very
to,
nice.
we need to turn around fast. I'm happy that we had more than one responded, which is good. So there were choices. And I'm confident that we'll be able to move it forward at a rapid speed. So
Who were the other respondents?
there was also Barton and Judas and Melissa
Johnson?
Johnson Associates.
Okay.
Okay. So can you tell us what we should expect in the next 2 months? I think I didn't really look at the Gantt chart. But is the Gantt chart correct?
Let
one
me
in the
bring up the
Google.
Gantt chart. So the Gantt chart is correct.
Okay,
And so in the next 2 months, again, a lot will happen in the next 2 months. The vendor contracting is gonna happen as soon as we announce it. The project advisory committee will be formed. The first PAC meeting will be held. The first public meeting will be held. The webpage will be developed. The public engagement strategy will be developed. The public survey and polling will take place. And data and plan review will take place, and compiling the data. And then creating the prioritization matrix. That's kind of the next couple of things that will happen.
is the polling going to be any more than what usually happens on Engage Kingston? Or is that up to them?
That will be a discussion with the consultant.
Mhm.
Each of the consultants did suggest a number of different options, considering COVID, considering, what works for Kingston. We haven't firmed up anything, of course, so I don't do the contract yet, but there could be certainly something online. There could be some sort of crowdsourcing app. There could be some sort of poster, around town kind of data collection. There could be some sort of mailer. We're not sure yet.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to let you say that Helen Atkinson apparently joined about 5 minutes ago, maybe. So hello, Helen.
Hey, Helen.
And okay, does anyone else have any questions about this week? I just want to remind that Julie put the information on a Google folder that has a really nice outline from Scenic Hudson, and then some specific plans.
Great. Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. For some reason, my link is not working, the one that I'm supposed to use. So
Yeah, it seemed like all of you none of you came in through the link did anyone come in with the special link that you were supposed to come in with? Or did you all use the public link?
No, I used the real link, but I had to be promoted as a panelist.
Right. That's
I
Use the
wonder if-
one
I
on
used- I used the link from the agenda,
right.
but I remember now that I shouldn't have.
I knew I had it somewhere, but it was easier to use them.
And
agenda
the reality is,
but-
it doesn't really matter. You could totally use the link from the agenda, because I'm obviously gonna promote you to panelists, and that could be the way that we do it. But it's also interesting to me that Kevin used the specified link and still needed to be promoted to panelist.
Yeah, I've had that, with Sue and Kyla too. I mean, it's maybe that's an extra security measure. I don't know.
I think I used the
You got
one that
right-
was sent specifically to me
And you
Yeah.
and had to be promoted to panelists.
Yeah, I had to
Yeah.
type my email in, and
Yeah,
then I was sort of like watching you, like as if I were dead, and I'm up in heaven watching all of you. And, yeah.
Oh, you could see us?
Oh
Right,
yeah,
of course, you
dude,
can see us.
that-
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what happened with Tony that
Oh,
other
yeah.
time when I went to public safety. I was like,
Yeah. The
Tony.
thing is, I can't figure out how to make it like ding or anything when someone comes in as an attendee. And so if I don't notice that someone's arrived as an attendee, you could be sitting there for days before me promoting you as panelist. I don't know. I wish there was like a ding, somebody else arrived. Maybe there is, I don't know.
Yeah, it might
And
be
someone-
Kyla, because Kyla does this for the other boards more than Suzanne. Suzanne's kind of running the meeting, and then Kyla will
Yeah.
be like doing what you were just doing. Yeah,
Yeah,
moving everybody.
not sure. But you're all here now.
Yeah.
So that's good.
We are now.
I just want to say that on the community preservation plan, I had no idea that this was started many years ago in Long Island and that they have preserved a lot of land. And, so that, and that because the Hudson Valley just kind of got put into it a few years ago. And but there are lots of examples on Long Island, apparently, because they have a lot of money at least. And I think, so one of the things I just want to ask you is, there is that whole component of the committee, I'm going to call it the committee, that's going to promote this afterwards. And I guess I would like to know like what our role can be like, can we be not as CAC or as CAC to be part of this? I mean, I know there needs to be an organization that's willing to do it, that would be existing. It would be easier if it was existing.
Yeah, so I am going to, it's on my list to have a sit down with the new corporation council to have that discussion about
Okay,
what I can and cannot do as staff and what the CAC can and cannot do as an appointed body. I don't have the answer right now. I do know that under the grant, nothing can happen related to the fund under the grant. So the consultant cannot help us with the campaign at all,
okay,
unless we finalize that contract with the consultant and then contract with the consultant again under separate funding, so somewhere else. But
okay.
I have confirmation from Ingrid, who is the DEC rep, that we can't work with our consultant at all on the campaign.
Mhm.
So
And-
my intent is to understand directly from corporation counsel. And if she doesn't know, then go to whoever needs to, other attorneys, whoever, to understand exactly what the CAC and the staff can and cannot do. And I'll make that really explicitly
Okay.
clear once I have that information.
But there's still the intention to get it on the November ballot.
Yes.
Mhm. And
But even if we don't, we're still moving forward with the plan this year.
with the plan, right,
Even if
but not
the
the
plan takes
fund.
longer, even if the plan takes longer or whatever happens, we're still moving forward with the plan. Whether or not we do the fund in November,
Mhm. Okay,
because we need the plan either way, whether we do it this November or next November or the following November or no November, we still want to do the plan.
okay. Any other questions about that? Because this is going to hopefully be important in the next 2 months of understanding what's happening, what it's going to look like, and all of that. Okay. So
Julie,
part
can I
two,
just
Norwalk-
make a can I just make a admin note? I think the reason that the links were hard to get was because we were originally supposed to have this meeting a week ago and then it got moved. And so the calendar invite was for February 8th and it wasn't, yeah, I didn't realize that it wasn't in my anyway. So I think when we move the meeting, maybe it's possible for, I'm sorry, who is it? Jenny that sends out the invites? No.
Summer Smith.
Summer,
Summer.
excuse me. That I wonder if there's, I'll drop her a line and let her know that when it's moved, it'd just be good if she could refresh the invite or something.
Okay,
Right.
great.
Sorry about that.
That's good, thanks.
Yeah, it wasn't on my calendar and that. And I wondered about that. Okay. Nothing to report yet on urban conservation mapping. So the next is city plan review. Flatbush and Foxhole, I guess that's, Helen could report off on her talk
Yeah,
with.
Sorry, nothing particularly conclusive. Although, I don't know if you saw my note about this, but Greg Crook did say that they were at least considering restricting which ways you could go at that junction. So they're probably going to cut off Elmendorf Street completely because that's a really residential street that sort of comes in at a weird angle.
Mhm.
And in terms of truck traffic, I had suggested to him that perhaps it should, the only reason to make a difficult, it's all a bit technical, but the only reason to make a difficult left turn either way is if you're sort of trying to cut the corner to get to Albany Avenue, and that it might be an idea to just get trucks to go straight through. So that would at least reduce the number of traffic lights.
Mhm.
But I'm going hunting around for a better solution. I'm chasing up some British contacts to see if they have a clever idea. But yeah, but anyway, I'm engaged in conversation with him, and I hope to come up with something better soon.
Okay, well, thank you for continuing on that quest.
It's a pleasure.
And then the pedestrian bike master plan, I haven't been following that closely enough.
Yeah, well, I'm on the project committee, but there hasn't been a whole lot of action since the January 18th public meeting. You can go on Engage Kingston. That would be the fast way to do it. And there is, I think we mentioned previously, there's an app there where you can actually do a trip, assuming you can get through the streets and they're, without ice or something, and which should be shortly, hopefully. And they're still accepting comments. And one thing came out of it at the very end of the meeting. Somebody made a comment about trying to get from Rockwell Lane on the Walco Valley Rail Trail into Kingston on 32, and they, it just didn't get 2 thumbs up, let's put it that way. And they're going to revisit the report that they had issued for Open Space Institute on going off-road and see if there's any feasibility there with it. I had looked at that with Tim Wiedemann for Kingston Land Trust years ago. Well, we did a preliminary study for Barton and Lejudas and Open Space Institute, and and I've tried to implement the assemblage, and it was really difficult. And Bob Annenberg just threw his hands up from Open Space Institute. He just too difficult. So, but that was then. This is now. So we'll see. The key to it is Lawton Park.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the owner is amenable, but he's amenable in his own time frame, which could be, who knows, when he has money to do whatever development he was planning, or sells the property, in which case the next owner may not be amenable. So it bears watching and following up. Yeah, and I'll let you know
Well,
when something else comes up, substantive with the next public outreach on the bicycle
Okay.
master plan.
But we do have a chance to still put in our own private comments.
Yeah, just go on the
And- yeah.
page. They're
Okay.
they're taking comments
right.
like through. Yeah. For sure. Well, I think we missed Kingston Forward.
Forward.
Oops, we did. Thank you.
Okay, Kingston Forward, I do have an update on that. They're gonna, February, let's tell you, the 15th, next week, and through next Saturday, I believe that's the 26th. Yeah, they're gonna be, it's on Engage Kingston, if you haven't seen it. They're doing more public walking tours. They're focusing on Albany Avenue and Hurley Avenue uptown, because they felt that didn't get focused on quite enough, and they're focusing on East Strand. It says Rondout Waterfront, but they're particularly focusing on East Strand, because when we did Rondout Waterfront, we kind of walked through there past Rob Iannucci's properties and all that really fast. And we had some walking discussions, but they felt it won't, that particular area, that would include 6585 East Strand, would, and the Iannucci properties and the Maritime and Old Savannah require more a second look through. So they're going to be doing a walking tour on the 26th, and I think on the 24th there's a Zoom. So this will be happening next week. I had a meeting with the group, which I can probably forward to everybody. That's kind of been doing the zoning stuff with Bartek. We met with Bartek on the 11th, and we reviewed all of this, and also engaging the public for public dialogue. So
Oh, Bart, I'm sorry.
the
They are the people that are working with the other consult with Dover Cole. Or is
no,
this different?
this is like Tanya and Anthony Tampone Jr., Andrea Shao.
Oh, okay.
Rennie wasn't involved this time. I don't know, he wasn't there, but we all met with, and Tanya and Anthony refer to themselves as code reform advocates. So if you see an email from code reform advocates, it's either Anthony or Tanya. That's where it's coming from. We're usually with a CC to Andrea. So public outreach was the discussion we had. And
So
also
this kind of heads, if we're signed up for Engage Kingston, should we have gotten something?
I do not know. Bartek, I think you may want to follow up with Bartek to see if you did not get something. Just shoot him an email. I mean, he's pretty new on the job. He took over from Kevin Corte as a housing.
Oh,
person.
okay. Can you
Right.
tell me more about him? He
I
took
think-
over from Kevin, so he's the project manager on this.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So does anyone want, does anyone want to like divvy this up? Are we gonna, or are we relying on Kevin?
Well, I signed up to go on the Saturday walk.
From,
Are you there?
Hurley and Albany Avenue.
She froze.
I'm gonna guess it was Hurley or Albany Avenue or both.
Anita, you froze.
Oh,
Are you
okay.
unfrozen?
Round out, the
Oh, you're
Saturday
doing
walk was
Rondout.
round
Okay,
out.
Just wrong. Okay, Rondout.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we're building down there,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
So I'm just checking out this. Yeah, so I mean, it just seems like we were on all the emails, and that maybe we need to be put back on. Right?
I don't know. I've just been following it, on Engage Kingston to make sure I'm up to date, because I have not been getting the emails.
I think I did get an email, which is why I signed up.
Hmm.
Maybe not. because I was cruising through Engage Kingston the other day, so I might have.
Yeah, that came up in the discussion too, the user friendliness of Engage Kingston, but be that as it may, it is, it's what's happening, so.
I got an
Okay,
email
so
from Imagine Kingston, which I think is the consultant's website, right?
No, I think that might be Code Reform Associates. Read it carefully and see what it says.
Okay.
I think I got that. That would be
Oh, yes, it is.
Tanya or Anthony Jr. doing a follow-up. That's what that is.
Yeah,
Yeah, not Engage Kingston. So, I mean, that's been part of it. And it was with Kevin as well, when he was on it, Kevin Corte, trying to get the public to do outreach. So he enlisted, well, Anthony Jr., if you don't know who he is, he was on the Anthony Tampone Jr. He was on the zoning task force with me and Michael Gilliard and Sydney and a few other people.
and the city of Kingston has this as an event on Facebook as well.
Oh, okay.
okay, there's Bart, how do you say Bartek's last name? Does
Staradaj,
anyone know?
Staradaj.
Steradaj, okay. And, okay, so there's a public meeting on February 23rd. None of these dates have the days of the week. Hurley and Albany Avenue, virtual public meeting, Roundout Waterfront, that's on the 23rd. The 24th is a Roundout Waterfront, and walking tours of Albany and Roundout on the 26th.
They may squeeze Hurley into the Albany Avenue one too. I'm not sure if they have time. Hurley Avenue, I mean, not going to Hurley, just.
Yeah,
Hurley.
so the walking tours you do, you're supposed to register, but you should register if possible. And it tells you where, so. Yeah, and it's probably a good idea to register because the weather could be iffy or something, so. All right. Well, it's just, I think the reason I'm concerned about not getting a direct thing is that it's easier if we can be passively find out about these things, so. But is everyone interested still in keeping engaged in that?
Y-
So, and Anita, you said you were gonna go to the Roundout,
Yeah.
the tour or the virtual?
I'll probably try and do both.
Okay. What, okay, sorry. Is anyone interested in Albany Hurley? I
Well,
could
I'm-
do that. I just,
Following those. I don't know if I'm going to be on the tour or not, but I'll be following it on the virtually for sure.
I'm not available for either of these events.
it's the Thursday. It's Thursday, February 23rd is Thursday?
It's Wednesday.
No, Wednesday.
That may.
Oh, I'm not available.
Or it might be, no, I think it's right after Climate Smart, so maybe I might be able to be on that. Or I could be a little late if Climate Smart runs over, but I'll try to be on that one.
All right. And the Albany Avenue one is quite extensive. It looks like it goes the entire way down to the city limits.
Yeah, we discussed, that, yeah, with Bartek, yeah, it does. So, and I think Roosevelt Park was mentioned too, which, in the discussion. So I don't think,
Okay.
I'm sure they paid a whole lot of attention to Roosevelt Park either. That's why they were going all the way up to the town line, so they could take a look at that as well if they have time. Virtually, they'll have time. I mean, if they, they do drive-throughs, but if, I don't know, I'm not sure what the route of the walking tour is going to be until you get.
Yeah, but I see, because it does go back in there, like where there's looks like a baseball field or something, so Lauren Park or something.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, and then is there any, besides these, is there any other action coming up? Like the,
Lost you, Emily.
Emily, you froze. Still frozen.
Mm.
Hmm. Emily, you might need to turn off your video. Or that.
Yeah.
She's gone.
Yes.
All right. We'll wait for her to come back in.
I see there's a survey too for this Kingston, for the Hurley Albany Avenue zoning. So I'll take that.
That was Emily. She said she's trying to get back in. She didn't realize she got kicked off. She thought all of us then got kicked off. She is.
sorry about that. I was chatting away. I have no idea when I lost you. Okay, so going forward on the Kingston Forward, it looks like Kevin might try to go to the one meeting and Anita the other. So we're covered there. Oh,
Yeah,
and then I
I'll
was
try to
talking
make it to
about,
both. I'll try to make it to both and see,
okay,
and
and then
if
I
I
was
can do
talking
the
about the form-based code.
right.
The form-based code is supposed to kind of start happening right around now and into March based on their timeline. So, okay. So this is exciting because I think, there'll be more input later on this year. Okay. Ulster County Housing Development Corporation in Golden Hill. I haven't heard anything.
We'll check the-
I just got to take this call, sorry.
I'll
Hello?
do it.
Yeah, I don't have an update.
I don't have an update on that. Here's the planning board agenda. Let's open that up and just see.
I was out of town.
I don't see it on the planning board agenda.
What else does planning board have to do with it at this point? Though? What's the next thing, do you know?
Well, I guess they have to come back and be on the agenda and do a presentation. And the lead agency's already been done, so the next step would be to start the process, submit reports and get the review underway.
Well, thank you for a personal call. Okay, I was like, wait. I know it's like they haven't called me to remind me. And I'm just,
Let me see what we.
thank you. Sorry. Have you just been sitting around?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Nothing on Golden Hill. East Strand,
Nothing.
19, the Hurley Avenue,
Okay,
Kingston Meadows.
that there is something. Okay, they're on the agenda under old business and they're requesting to reaffirm the negative secret declaration from January 2013. So this might be the time to submit comments if you choose to do that.
So I think we should.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what is our deadline?
I don't know. I don't see the meeting documents, although I do have volumes of files, that they have posted already from a previous meeting. Updated reports and whatnot, and they're just going to try to say that it's still a neg deck.
I know, but what I meant was, I'm sorry, I thought you said it was on the agenda of the planning department.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So when does the planning department meet?
Next Tuesday. Yeah, Monday's a holiday. Normally it'll be Monday, but it's President's Day, so they're on Tuesday.
So February 22nd, is that something we should be trying to meet? Because if so, if we have to get it in on Friday because Monday's a holiday, it's really tight. Because today's Tuesday.
No, we have comments, that we've made repeatedly and sort of resubmitted. I mean, that if nothing else can be done, that could probably be done. There's one variable in this whole thing where it could be continued. And that has to do with the county. And I haven't gotten an update on what's happening at the county. They need permission across the Catskill Mountain Railroad or the old Ulster and Delaware line. And they petitioned the legislature for a resolution on that. But I couldn't find where the legislature had acted or if there was even a pending resolution on the county website. So I have to contact either Dennis Doyle or somebody from the Trails Committee. And Ted, do you know? Maybe you've heard something that I haven't heard.
I haven't heard anything.
No. And the hotel, the Best Western is cooperating with Peg O'Leary on this. That's the developer. That's her name, Peg O'Leary. Because of the other lawsuit, they have a stipulation on the other lawsuit where she was claiming the right to go through the hotel property to access Washington Avenue. That's her default strategy. If this fails with the county, she's going to try to go through the hotel, and that lawsuit will, I don't know, drag on. So her preferred thing to do would be to get the county to agree to allow her to cross the UND Catskill Mountain Railroad line and then use that entrance and get the neg deck, because the planning board had already approved of that.
Do you know, Kevin, how big or like the details of the develop is, do you have like the EAF or anything?
Yeah, there was, well, I think I have the files going back to like 2010. It's like volumes of files, but they had resubmitted updated information more recently. And let me open the folder here. It's, I think we have documents A through Q on this. It's a lot of stuff. And did they do an updated EAF? That's what I'm looking, or just updated reports? That's what I'm looking for. Don't know if they resubmitted a new EAF. I think they've just updated the various reports. That's what I'm seeing here.
Is that required for them to make a determination?
Well, I think they would may have to do a new EAF if they get turned down at the planning board on this, and the planning board determines that they have to go through SECRA again, then they'll have to do another EAF. They already have all the report updates though.
So Julie, by the way, Julie sent us the neg deck.
Right. Yeah, that's
On
it's
November
dated
9th.
January 14th, 2013. That's the date on it. What they have in the file is a preliminary site plan, copy of the neg deck, secret assessment. This is not an EAF. They hired Green Plan from Rhinebeck to do a comparison.
Is there something you want to know, Ted?
I can forward the link to all these. Well, I can't forward the link to it. You have to negotiate through the city website to get to it, but I think I can probably put the link in the chat to where you can.
I'm just curious about the scale, because my understanding is it's a development in a wetland, so I would think that it wouldn't be a neg deck, but I'd like to know more about the project and do some research.
You don't recall what she's doing? Okay.
I mean, I know generally
like
what she's
you would-
doing, but I
Yeah,
don't know. the
She's
scale.
raising the land to get out of the floodplain, and they're avoiding the wetlands as best as they can. Yeah. So they don't trigger a lot of Army Corps permits and that sort of thing. Yeah. So they're trying to raising the land where she wants to put the development. I think it's 155 feet above sea level. Yeah, they have to be above that. And then they're taking the land from somewhere else on the site, closer to over by the Best Western, and they're going to gouge out that land. Now, the question is, once they do that, are they exacerbating a flooding potential over there?
Well, yeah, it sounds like a significant action to me. Do you know like the circumstance?
Well, that's why, I mean, it was sort of like we were scratching our heads years ago with why they were doing a neg deck on this.
Explain what a neg deck is, please.
Yeah.
It's a declaration of negative environmental impact.
Oh, okay, thank you.
What the planning board there
Thank you, Anita.
does is they, when they do this, they do a coordinated review generally, and they get a lot of reports done, but they don't often have them peer reviewed like they would with a positive deck. They might look at the consultant's report for the developer and say, well, you better hire somebody else to verify this. That's one of the things with the negative deck. They do all the reports, but it doesn't always get peer reviewed. So that's the situation there. I mean, they've done that on other projects too.
So remember that it's the person who declares that a negative declaration is the city's planning department.
Or the planning board, the board.
The planning board, yeah, the planning board. I'm sorry. Does anyone want to read the first page of it? Because I could bring it up or Julie could bring it up.
The neg deck resolution, I have it here.
I
it's a
have
lot-
it too. I just don't know how to, I don't know if I can share my screen.
Let's see, it's a lot of
I
whereas.
could try.
It's a lot of whereas clauses.
Share
Resolution.
screen, cool.
Oh,
She
are you,
disabled it.
You can now.
Okay.
You're up, you're sharing the screen for it, or it's a lot to read.
This is the first page, though. I'm just gonna say, see, they said they
Yeah.
said unlisted conditionally, condition negative declaration. And this pretty much describes the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the actual document that Wayne Platt signed. I don't know if he signed this. I think I have this in a different section.
This one's signed.
Yeah, the one I have has different fonts, and a lot of whereas clauses. And it's signed by all the board members that were present. Oh, yeah,
All
here
we're
it
trying to
this
do is so that everyone understands the project.
here it is. Yeah, this is part 2 to it. Yeah, that explains the project. Yeah. Okay. I have what you have. Okay.
And there's no regulations about building in a floodplain? Well,
Mm,
that
Yes, there is.
there is.
That's where it gets tricky with the county. The county planning department didn't, which would be Dennis Doyle, and this might go as far back as Jennifer Schwartz Berkey O'Donnell was still at the county. But it's
There
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, they made comments on it for sure. They took a dim view of citing senior citizens in the floodplain.
Okay.
Yeah. And now they need the county's permission to do it. So that takes on a political aspect because they're going to the legislature, not to the county planning.
Uh,
Well, can we resubmit anything, or is there a time to turn it around? I don't know. I don't know enough about it or SECRA in general to write something by Friday.
I would suggest resubmitting what we already did. Because that highlighted the floodplain, it highlighted the, raising of the land and the, the sinking of the other land, so to speak. And we wouldn't be addressing, they're not addressing the hotel lawsuit at all. They're as if that's, as if it were a done deal with the county, which I don't think it is quite yet. And I don't, maybe yeah, that's up in the air. There's a big question mark. The county, I mean, is, yeah, so we could just resubmit the previous We've done that several times, I believe, since then. This has come up. And then she has to get funding after all of that.
Oh, geez.
Hey, Kevin, how long before the planning board typically would add meeting materials? Because they've just posted the agenda.
Usually the day after our meeting.
Okay. Thanks.
Sorry. But I believe they do have materials posted on this, because that's where I got all this from, the recent stuff. So let's go back to them. Let's see if I can find the link to it. But if you've been following what I was saying, the link will not be a direct link to the documents. It'll be a link to a page where they have project documents, and then you have to scroll through that to find it.
I found them. I'll share the link.
Okay, if you have the link faster than I do, yeah, I'd have to go back and it's not in the February meeting. Have to go back, I think, to the January meeting and then link it from that agenda. So you have it there. Okay, now if ever, okay.
Thank you, Ted.
And for those of you that are not familiar, you have to open up the Make Your Selection and Kingston Meadows, which is after Cooperage, 104 Smith, that and just above Golden Hill. That's our project. And then you'll get another pull down menu. It says 2021, 22.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So
And
there
this-
is a 2021 December new secret assessment comparing it to 2013 by Green Plan.
Yes, that would be a key document to look at.
I'll
It has, item 3 is what Emily shared the screen. That's the document. That's item C, rather, January 14th, 2013.
So what's the one? What's the one that's between K and L?
That's another,
Looks like it's the same thing.
yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same 2013 document that they had done previously.
Oh, I see. So what we want to look at is Q.
The one above A where it says Green Plan.
Oh,
To Wayne Platt. That's one of them. Let me see there. No, that's that's a cover letter. And a secret update. What happened to the Green Plan one? Summary. Where is the Green Plan? I just had it open. No, that's not it. There was a chart where it had it side by side. It showed you everything.
yeah, it's attachment D, which there is no attachment.
I have it. But D doesn't open. I was
I don't
able
know
to
where it
get
is.
it at some point. I was able to get that at some point.
I put it in the chat.
Yeah,
the last
Yeah,
link
yeah, okay. I just got it again.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the link works. Here, what they're saying is there's no construction is proposed in 2013, no construction is proposed within the limits of the floodway. And over here on the right, it says there are no physical changes to the proposed project site plan that would alter the 2013 negative declaration, finding of no significant adverse impacts on floodplains. regulatory changes. FEMA map was updated in 2016. This goes through quite a few. Gee, we could be here for quite a while going through all of these. I think the gist of it is that what they're saying is that there are no physical changes that would alter the neg deck.
Mm-hmm.
It pretty much says that under every item. Let's see. Item H in the green plan document refers to the open space plan. And they're quoting a scoring analysis. So figure 24 from the open space plan. Okay, and then it references the O&W rail trail. And the easement.
Okay, so, oh, this is we should have
Yep.
done some work on this beforehand.
No, they just put the agenda up. But they have not put the links to the agenda up yet, but I think we have them. Well, it would seem that that's just the change, the impacts are the same. The only change is that is the eminent domain proceeding where they have the the rail trail included in the mix.
But that doesn't,
That was included in the mix occasionally previously, not in every set of site plans, but on more often than not.
I would have a concern with this. I used to live in the Hurley floodplain. And it has gotten much worse. I mean, you know, it was supposed to be 100-year floodplain, and I flooded twice in 6 years. And I mean, the first time it was mismanagement by the reservoir, but the second time it was, you know, it was a hurricane of the kind that we get, you know, 2 or 3 times a year. You know, it just seems to me that on the whole, these things are getting much worse.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any scope to request that they do another assessment of whether this is 100? Because this should not be classified as a 100-year floodplain, I don't think. Or I certainly think that should be revisited.
Don't they just, I would imagine they go by the FEMA.
FEMA 2016 update. It says it right in the plan.
Oh, okay. I guess 2016 is better than nothing.
Better than what they were using previously.
Yeah. Okay. All right, good. Thank you. It's just, you know, I had 2 elderly neighbors on both sides of me in Hurley, and you know, the difference between sorting it out between me and my husband, who were in the, you know, our 40s at the time, and 2 elderly widows in their late 70s.
scary.
It was scary. I mean, you know, that's being, I mean, you know, of course, being turned out of your home for any reason is really shitty, but when you've got a whole load of sewage and God knows what coming through, and then you have to deal with the government to do the insurance, and it's
Well, clearly, the flooding on the Esopus is still a big problem.
Yeah,
I sat in on a meeting that was out of Esopus, I think.
Mhm.
And you know, there's still a lot of concern about what's happening along the Esopus
yeah.
in terms of flooding.
I suppose, I mean, I'm sorry, again, I think I'm probably with the rest of you. I haven't really dug into this project.
One of the issues here is Ulster Savings Bank. They're the backer of the project. They were the previous owner. They sold it to her. And they gave her a mortgage on the Hurley Avenue access. The original comments from the county were like, we need a second means of egress, and that threw the rail trail into play. So on some site plans, it showed a rail trail, so other site plans, it showed emergency access. And that got resolved through the county bringing legal proceedings, and they into an agreement. So they have, yeah, okay, it's a rail trail now. But I believe you can still use that for emergency access. They did not condemn the fee interest. They just condemned an easement. So they have an easement. She still owns the rail trail.
Yeah.
Right, in that section, not the whole rail trail, just that.
It
one
was just that section, the easement. Yeah,
Going up to the Super 8 from the thruway. So I mean, I think we're back to, you know, the comments from 2010, 2011, 2012, whenever we submitted those originally and updated them in 2016. I think we sent another set then. Pretty much the same set. I really like resending those because I don't think much has changed. Other than it's gotten worse. Yeah, like you're saying, like, you know, climate
yeah,
change.
that's my concern.
Getting
that
better, right.
This is only going one way.
Yeah. They didn't listen to us then. And I think this went to the ZBA because her zoning variance thing had expired at some point, and
Right.
Julia Farr who, when she was at the Kingston Land Trust, went there and submitted some of our comments as well. Yeah.
So the
And
one thing
think
is there's
ZBA did
one
one
memorandum that doesn't have a date.
Mhm.
And so we have three things. We have December 7th, 2012. And we talk about excavation of sediment and drainage. And then the next one is not dated. Then we talk about the climate action plan. So I guess we could, at some point, look at our climate action plan again.
Well, they tell us where to look on that. They made comments on that. I think it was something, was it chart? One of the, where is it here? Yeah.
So anyway, the one problem I have with this is that there's no date. It just says we're talking to,
Here,
and then the next one is May 8th, 2016.
that might have been the last time, and I think that's when, it might have, yeah, I think that was the last time we submitted comments, but it came up after that, maybe in 2017 or 2018, which was when I think Julia and Reno Busiak from the Kingston Land Trust both attended the ZBA meeting.
Well, I propose that we just resend these two letters.
Yeah.
And then kind of keep an eye, and then look to see if there's anything else. I mean, they kind of used our open space plan to say that,
Yeah.
they used our open space plan to kind of say, well, you got to work with the landowners. So, you know, I don't know what we can say back to that.
They also reference some scoring. Which I have to pull up the open space plan and see what what they're referring to. Figure 24.
So we had submitted 4 different documents.
Yeah.
One on 11/6/12, one on 12/7/12, one on 12/19/12, and one on 5/6/5/9/16.
Okay,
And then,
should we just read?
and then in like 2019, we submitted all of them again.
Oh,
At
we
least
did.
once.
Yeah, that sounds like we should do a redo of 2019.
Okay, but is there anything we should do after that? Like, should we wait to see what the planning board, the county says, or just,
Yep, we should do
or
all
is
of
there anything else we should do to react to this that's in a more, over a month's time? The one thing that I see is that, they're trying to make low income senior housing. And that's a real need, expressed need supposedly. And, so there may not, so the thing is they may build it, but it may need some more mitigation. I mean, I know, yeah.
Yeah, well, that goes back to the county situation where the county planning, if the legislature were to approve this, they're not on the same page with the county planning department. But the city can override the county planning suggestions and comments. with a
So,
suit.
I don't really understand all of this. I really just need to know what we can do
A
and how it would
significant-
be impacted on the legislature. I mean, should we be notifying the legislature about something? Or is the legislature just about the access?
That's just about the access.
So
But
we
we
don't
that.
really have a say about that.
No, not really. I mean,
What is the, what would be our involvement in access?
involvement in access. Well, if you try to shut down the access to it, she's going to go back to court against the Best Western.
We don't want to shut down the access. We have nothing to do with that. We have something to do with whether or not it's that the building itself and everything is, I mean, I don't see where we have anything to do with access. That's a thing about the emergency people and the landowners and everything. So what we've talked about before is like being in the site plan, affecting the habitat and, and that kind of stuff.
Well,
So,
the access does come into the picture with respect to the site plan and whether the whole site plan would have to be redone and start secret again. If the legislature denies the access, she's going to have to come up with a new site plan showing how she's going to go through the hotel and dump all this traffic through the hotel's property, onto Washington Avenue, assuming she's successful in that lawsuit, which I have doubts about. I'm not convinced of her claims, but it's apparently costing the hotel a lot of money in legal fees, and they just want to cut their losses on legal, just, get rid of her.
But that's something we deal with down the road. So should
Yeah,
we-
if it comes to pass. The county legislature approves of the access. It comes through off of Hurley Avenue, across the O&W, across the UND, and to the site plan.
So for the sake of time, should we just resubmit these documents or,
That's my suggestion, yeah.
okay,
yeah, I propose we just resubmit the documents and then, but what I'm trying to say is there some homework we should say, start working on between now, if there's going forward, or is it's just gonna be decided this Monday, Tuesday? So is there any homework we should be doing? And so I'm just gonna say maybe Kevin can think about it and let us know. And we
Yeah,
can go ahead and submit the,
it's a fluid situation because of the county legislature. I mean, that radically changes it if she's coming through the hotel. The site plan isn't the site plan. Now she's got to go through, and the traffic reports are not the traffic
so do
reports.
you think that we should send something to like in the environmental committee at the legislature to say we're concerned about this for reasons that have nothing, that have nothing to do with, that may affect your decision on giving access?
Mm.
Because it's a bad program or something, because that's something that, we could do whenever it's going to come up to
Yeah.
vote.
Is it on the EMC agenda even? Probably
Not
not.
the EMC, I didn't say the EMC.
Which agenda were you talking about?
Energy, environment, and sustainability.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea,
Yeah, I don't know
but
either.
everything has to go to a committee.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
we gotta
I
cut
just- I
this
don't know
off.
which
It's really
committee
late.
it is.
So the action items are to look into, where this will go in terms of the legislature and when. Right?
I haven't gotten a lot of information on that.
The actions item are to do the homework on it.
Yeah,
And in the after the fact, and then in the meantime, we will submit the 5. The same thing we did in 2019. So Julie, do you have that submission? Do I have?
I was just looking through all my emails. I think you submitted it, Emily.
In 2019? Because
I don't know if
okay.
it was for 2019 for sure. I just said 2019. I look back all the way to 2016. I didn't submit the resubmission.
Do you have the documents?
Yeah, I just sent them all in an email.
oh, okay.
Okay, I'll take care of it then. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, then, and we're
right.
doing that, we don't need a motion, right? We're just going to, acclamation, unanimous acclamation to submit the
Sounds
comment.
good.
Okay,
All right, sorry. Okay, number 8, water quality. Sebastian's not here. What 2021 CAC year-end report?
Hold on, I did want to
report.
report something on the water quality to follow up from last month. So I had mentioned that I had submitted an application as part of the DEC's unassessed stream segment monitoring to submit for the roundout. And they had mentioned that they were only going to be choosing 3 streams across the area. They chose the 3 and they chose 4 and we are not one of them. So we were not awarded that. So they chose the Taghanic, Taghkanic Creek, the Tin Brook, the Quasay Creek, and the Punch Brook. Not us. But they did say
All
that,
right, good
so
try.
that's what they're going to be monitoring from in 22, 23. They did say if monitoring goes well and time and resources are available, they possibly could do another solicitation in late fall or early winter. So I'll try again.
Okay, and maybe we could,
Good woman.
buddy up with the town of Esopus or something too. And next time. So, all right, great. Thank you. CIC year-end report. Is this a final to approve it to send it on?
Yeah, I haven't heard any comments back. If there aren't any changes, then basically, I think everyone voted at the last meeting. I'll have to look back at the notes.
Look good to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
what do we
then,
need? Just,
did we actually vote last time, or you actually vote last time?
No, we deferred it to February.
Or to February for a vote this month? Okay, so then we'll need to vote to approve it, and then I will send you all the final, and it needs to be presented at public safety, and I'll post it on the website.
okay, so, okay, I'm just gonna move to submit the year-end report.
I'll second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Say
Aye.
aye. Okay, fine. All right, great, thank you. And then will be Ted's job to submit it, to talk about it at the public safety?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much he needs to talk about it, and he can go over it if you want, you can go over it if you want, or you can just share it, send it to
I
everybody.
I basically went over the draft at the
Oh, okay.
last public safety
Okay.
meeting, so I don't think they want to hear it again.
Okay, then that's fine.
Okay,
Then at
thank
this
you.
point, I'm
Thanks
just
for
gonna post it
thank
on
you,
the website.
Ted. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, the Climate Action Council draft scoping plan. I think we just need to make a decision on if we want to submit any comments at all and how we would do that. The reason I brought it up is that it does have information on, on open space and natural resources, and, are we, are they going to listen to us? Should we be doing this? And do we have the interest in time? Because I believe that we have until sometime in May, which is actually coming up. So is there anyone interested in kind of reviewing this as a group?
This is the state climate action plan.
Mm,
Okay,
It's a draft scoping plan for
yeah, in the chat.
what came out of the community leadership, climate leadership and community protection act. Yes, and they had to develop this draft scoping plan. And this is the next step of that. I mean,
It's-
we could just say, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for me, it's kind of dense and I don't feel like I have the expertise to contribute much, so that's all.
I
Okay,
feel the same. I feel the same way, I must admit.
okay.
well, I will volunteer to take a look at it.
Great. Thank you, Anita.
And
Thank
I
you.
mean, it's like 800 pages, but there's
Yeah.
you don't have to look at it all. You would pick the sections that are relevant, whether it's natural resources, forests, open space, urban forests, and that kind of stuff. It's interesting, and I could help you with that. So,
Is the-
okay, so we'll look through it and then report back in April,
Okay,
then, I mean, March.
okay. Yeah,
Okay.
one of the
um,
other board members at the Nature Center is heavily into climate change. And so we got a lot of information from her. She goes to all the
mhm.
world conferences and stuff. So I'm willing to
Oh,
look.
cool. Okay, so the new business, I'm just gonna say that, I sent an email about, before I forget this, okay? I'm gonna use like announcement and events. That will be where we can cover the Earth Fair. Okay, Julie. So I'm just saying that so we can remember to do that. Okay. I wanted to, I just wanted, I sent you information about the Extended Producer Responsibility Act, and this seems, I became aware of it because I don't know, I got some kind of email, but I sent you the information, both of the Senate bill and of a sign-on letter, that went to the governor. So this is kind of what they're trying to do, is put this Extended Producer Responsibility Act information into the budget to carry it out. And so that, I think the action on that will be then between now and April. And I already got something from Environmental Action telling people to contact their legislatures and ask them to add it to the budget. So I'm going to go back now and say that Governor Hochul mentioned extended producer responsibility in her budget. And there's also the Kaminsky put forth his bill. And by the way, Michelle Hinchy is one of the top sponsors in the Senate on that. And this would be very important for kind of reducing waste by putting the onus on the producers. And that's what Extended Producer Responsibility Act is. So the bottle bill is a really good example of that, where there is a 5-cent deposit and so on, but then other extended producer responsibilities. The example of producers taking responsibility are like Nike had batteries. They've had a collection program. The manufacturers have had a program a long time because they realize that they are dangerous and they can reuse them and recycle them and so on. So that's another example. So this idea is that right now we're consumers and the companies are producing things, and then the municipalities are actually responsible for taking care of everything that is not used in that whole consumer tract. And so it's taking away from that and, putting it back into the producer's responsibility. And they go into a lot of detail. It's not just, anyway, so, and I think we need to read everything and decide if we're going to send some memorializing in the past, what we've done is we have either sent something directly to, we usually ask the city to do a memorializing resolution, as opposed to directly sending it to like our senator or our senator and our legislator or our governor. Is that right, Julie? But can we do both?
I don't know why we couldn't.
Yeah. And the issue with the first one is that we have to move ahead, a couple months. So, because we'd have to present it at public safety, and then they would decide, and then they would put it in front of the legislature. So it's it's more of a 2-month thing. And if the budget gets passed by April 1st, I believe it would be, moot. So, and the reason I think that, we don't work with solid waste, mostly climate change does, and Julie does directly with being the sustainability coordinator. But this just seems like a big one for starters.
Yeah, so I mean, if the plan was to put something before the council, it would have to go, it would have to be submitted to the council by February 25th. It would go on the laws and rules in March, and then it would be voted on April 5th.
Right, which is, so we may have already missed that deadline.
For a council resolution, yeah.
Yeah. If the budget passes on time. All right, so I feel like I'm interested in this, so if I feel like if we need to send a letter, then we should do that by by March 15th. And if I can't do it, we won't do it. Does that sound reasonable?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So then the other one, the next one is anyway, you have that information, and there's probably other groups that are reaching out, that would be reaching out, that you might get emails from. I don't know who you get emails from to push this along. And by the way, one of them is to increase the bottle bill, because the bottle bill has only been, so the original bottle bill was carbonated beverages and beer, and then it went to water, and they're still trying to get alcohol and all the teas and the sports drinks and all of that don't have a deposit on them. They're trying to keep that separate in a way. Okay. Okay, so for the open issue discussion, I just, in some way, I just wanted to know, right now, we're kind of following all these things, and we're doing a lot of report out. And I wanted to just start and I feel also that we could really get really busy again with Kingston Forward and with the preservation plan.
Mhm.
And we might just be like really busy until November, but I wanted to bring up if there was any other issues that you have seen, noticed, or that that you see that we as a Conservation Advisory Council could take on in the next, 2 years or something. So I just wanted to start that, and we could just brainstorm for a minute, or you could come back next month with some ideas.
Well, I can throw one thing out. I'm getting DEC newsletters.
Mhm.
And in one of the recent ones, they announced funding available for small forest areas, like 1.5 acres or something like that. And I was wondering if there was, I don't know that it's something we could do, but is there somebody we could encourage to apply for some of this funding for some of our forested areas in the city? Is that something we should even be thinking about? Excuse me.
Yeah, so if we're talking about the same thing, then there is a grant. Hold on, let me just find it here. Nope, that's not it. There we go. They have one called Community Forest Conservation Grant,
Yeah,
the DEC.
yeah.
I've been in communication with the mayor and the grants department and the planning department on this. And we are discussing whether or not we would be interested in applying. It feels like we may. We have identified 3 different parcels that we may look to pursue. They have to be, the stipulation is that they need to be over 10 acres of continuous land, and it needs to be at least 75% forested. And The grants are $50,000 to $300,000. And the community needs to put in 10% match, which has to be cash. And basically the money is used for either purchase or conservation easements of the land. And you need to submit a municipal resolution in order to commit to doing so. And it's due April 13th. So we have started talking about it. There seems like we may move forward, but in order to do so, we actually need to have a commitment on behalf of the landowner for the grant. And right now, 2 out of the 3 parcels have the same landowner, and we're not sure if that person is going to be amenable or not. But we are looking into it.
Okay.
Did they have to be one landowner for 10 acres? Or did they just to be 10 acres contiguous?
I don't think it matters. It needs to be 10 plus contiguous acres.
And what is but what did they do for $50,000? Oh, they get a,
50 to
Easement?
300,000.
yeah,
So
what
we
did they
would-
do? Get an easement?
you would get an easement or purchase.
Oh, I see.
And depending on the acreage, depends on whether you also need to submit a recreation plan or a forest management plan. And so that becomes part of not the application, but once you're actually executing, once you've been awarded, you need to purchase and or enter into an easement and submit this recreation plan or forest management plan, depending on the acreage. So I will keep you all updated. If we choose to move forward with it, I'm probably gonna need some help on it. So I will reach out to you.
Are you
Is this
allowed,
statewide? Is
I
this a statewide program?
assume so.
Hmm.
And
Did they say like
I
they have
attended a
no-
webinar on it also. It's DEC's Community Forest Conservation Grant Program, round 1. I don't think there's, I'm trying to look for a link. Michelle Higgins.
So
put
in
it
other
out.
words, we could help either with writing things or with just saying we like this idea,
Yep.
letter of support. Okay.
Mhm.
are-
Yeah,
So
are-
this
the-
would make it so that the forest would be preserved.
Yes.
Mhm. Cool.
I'm gonna think that these are parcels that were identified in the open space plan.
Yes.
Okay. And that's about as far as you can say, right?
Yeah, I'd rather not say.
But this is cool because that means our open space plan is getting some use. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then, so any other ideas?
Do we know if there's any threatened or endangered species in our area?
Bats?
Yeah, if you look in the, if you go to the city's website and go to kingston-mi.gov/NRI, our NRI, our natural resources inventory identifies species of conservation concern, I think they're called.
Yeah,
There's a list of plants and animals in the back of it, I think, maybe it's an appendix. But none of them are located to the exact point, which is standard for endangered
Mhm.
plants and species, so that we're
Yeah,
not paying
right.
attention to where they're.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I mean, we do have bats because we have the caves and just bats that live in trees and so on. And I don't know really what their status are. And then, of course, bees, which is one of your specialty, is just whether, providing more pollinator habitat.
Yeah,
We've never done real kind of outreach to get people to plant anything. But there's like Woodstock is doing the whole pollinator garden type things, and Kingston has pollinator gardens, but it's not like asking homeowners to do it. So that's one thing.
well, New York State is participating in a survey of native bees, which I was doing in a couple of sites in Pennsylvania. And I haven't had time yet, but I will get in touch with them and see if there's any particular bee species around here that they're interested in.
Okay. All right, well, I just keep that open, the open issues, so that we can continue to move forward. Okay, so are there any communications? Okay, then announcement and events. Julie could talk about this more, but there's an Earth Fair on May 14th. I sent you some literature so you can see what it's like if you've never attended one. And Julie said that we could someone could be on the planning committee, or we could, agree to have a table, or in the past, I know at least once we've had a table where we talked about our open space and the issues with burning wood and so on. I will not be here that day, so I'm not going to volunteer, but does anyone have any questions, and is anyone interested in either being on the planning committee or helping with just helping that
afraid
day?
I'm going to be out of town then too, so.
Okay.
I've already sent Julie some suggestions for next year that I'd be willing to do, but
Great.
not yet,
Not this year. Okay. Super. Okay.
related to bees, of course.
Super.
I don't think
Okay.
I'm going to be there or be in town then, but I guess this is related to announcements, but I did start a Facebook page and an Instagram, which only has one post so far, but I'm happy to promote, through that. My goal is to do like one post a week. So, or if you have suggestions for posts or content, just email
Right.
me.
You started a Facebook page for the CAC?
I did, yes.
Oh my God. Well, how do we like it or something?
Well, the Facebook page, I don't think I made live because it's not ready. That's why I haven't emailed you,
Oh, okay.
but the Instagram is, because I just haven't had a lot of time to work on it. But I'll send out an update this week.
Okay,
Thanks for doing that. That's
You're
great.
Thank you for doing that.
No, that's amazing.
All right. So planning board, Kevin McAvoy.
No,
have
no, no,
you-
no, hang on. Complete.
Complete streets. I'm so sorry.
Please.
I've been skipping things. Yes.
So I did send you a report about this. The thing that concerned me the most was the objections to the Franklin Street and Henry Street projects, which I was not especially aware of before. And apparently this is being done it's completely independent of the whole sort of rezoning effort. woman on the Complete Streets Advisory Council, Lynn Woods, who lives on Franklin Street, is very disturbed by the fact that it seems that the plan that they're about to put into place seems to involve basically removing all the trees on Franklin Street, and I think also Henry Street. And
I
then,
just-
sorry,
I just heard the same song from someone who lives just off of Franklin Street.
right.
A lot of people are upset.
Well, and apparently there was some sort of public meeting, but it wasn't properly advertised. And then there's also this issue that I think nominally under ADA requirements, they're sort of going to put in extremely wide sidewalks, which will actually necessitate removing people's hedges and putting the sidewalk right up to a stoop where there was some yard before, because apparently the city has the right to do that. It has a 9, it was confusing. There's some sort of measurement from the middle of the street towards the houses. Anyway, it just sounded rather concerning and definitely something that we should get involved in. So I can dig into this more if you like, and but I think it's safe to say that we would definitely object to the unnecessary removal of trees and possibly of hedges as well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, sure. Tanya, a lot of files on this, Tanya Garment. I think she'd foiled them.
Oh,
And
okay.
The issue you're referring to is a survey issue that may have come out of the city engineers department. I have to double check that, but I would think that's where the surveys are kept.
Okay.
Showing where the city property ends and the homeowner's property begins. So that gets into a complicated, legal issue. But yes, on trees, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I was very concerned to hear about the trees. So let me dig into that. So should I contact, sorry, it's Tanya.
I might be able to forward you what she sent to me. I looked at it. but
Okay,
You may have more. Yeah, since you're focusing on this, yeah, I'll send it to you. You can look at it.
please. Yeah, I'd very much like to act on this because it really concerned me. I mean, I can't remember whether it was Lynn or somebody else was pointing out that the carbon capture capability of trees doesn't really become significant until they're 50 years old. So the loss of mature trees is a really serious business. All right, so I will get onto that. Kevin, if you could forward me something, that would be brilliant.
It's a fairly large attachment, so I'll.
Okay. Okay, you could always put it on a Google Doc for me.
Yeah, if I have to, but no, she was able to email it to me. But it might
Okay,
be
good.
15 or 20 megabytes, something like that.
Okay. And then the other thing was that Complete Street seemed fairly happy with the proposal to allow e-bikes and e-scooters on the existing and future bike paths. And I mean, I don't even know if this is in our remit. But I think there are some concerns there. Again, maybe that's something to consider and talk about next time.
Who put forward the proposal?
I believe the Complete Streets, among others. I think there's generally a movement to propose to the city. I can follow up on that and get more details if you wish.
Okay, because it is one of the recommendations in the climate action plan to implement dockless bikes and or scooters.
Okay, I mean, so
Yeah, the
if it's
dockless-
a done deal, then that's fine. I mean, I just
No.
my
Mhm.
my
Is your
concern
concern safety or
Yeah, I'm just concerned about it. Yeah, I mean, I think they're fabulous, but you know, you do not want to get hit by a low-lying chunk of metal at 20 miles an hour in the ankle. I don't know if there's some way around this, but perhaps it's, you know, it sounds like it's already been debated. It just sort of raised concerns for me. That's all.
I wouldn't say it's been debated. It's just been identified in the climate action plan as one of the 20
Okay.
actions, but I didn't know that Complete Streets was moving forward a resolution on it.
Yeah, I believe they're
But-
putting forward a proposal.
This does come up quite a lot in trail discussions. I mean, one thing you can have speed limit signs. I don't know about enforceability of that, but I know that the folks who are mad about not being allowed to have things like dirt bikes and ATVs on rail trails they expect these things to be banned as well. And they don't think they should just get a pass for being green. So
Yeah,
don't
I'm
know.
inclined to agree. I mean, I don't, you know, if no motorized vehicles means no motorized vehicles, doesn't it? I mean,
Sorry, I do just want to clarify that the climate action plan's whole message about, or action about the dockless bike and scooter is not explicitly about bike trails. It doesn't
right,
mention,
yeah, so that's a
it
separate
doesn't
issue.
mention bike trails at all. And
Interesting.
frankly, the
Yeah.
intent of it is for roads.
but there's
Right.
I
also,
guess. Go ahead.
sorry, just quickly,
No, you
there's
go ahead.
a major problem already with traffic. I mean, I see e-bikes going the wrong way down one-way streets uptown constantly, and they're supposed to act like a vehicle.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a bigger conversation.
Is
I agree,
this,
and it is an environment, you know, it is a conservation issue, I think, in the broader sense of our mission.
well, the other thing is that we have an aging population and e-bikes are getting older people out on trails that they wouldn't be able to do.
Right.
And so that, I mean, I mean, I have friends that I would love to, have them have an e-bike so they could go with me. And so that's, and it wouldn't, and the dockless, are dockless bikes always electric or are they just dockless? Yeah.
No,
Whereas a
and
scooter
actually,
is probably
right.
electric, so.
Okay, so maybe I should
Dockless.
clarify that, again, the action is not about e-bikes. It
Oh,
is about,
it's just dockless bikes, okay.
well, let me, hold on, let me get to it.
Yeah.
Just close.
I mean, dockless bikes have their own problem because people just
Yeah.
dump them
Yeah.
somewhere
Yeah,
and they're just sitting in the sidewalk as
Okay, so
opposed
yes,
to a
it does
docking
not talk
system.
about e anything. It mentions dockless bike and or scooter program. It does
okay,
not talk about e anything.
interesting.
And I will
So
say,
in-
I'm not against e-bikes on trails necessarily, but I do think they're dangerous because they're silent. So that's all. Go ahead, Helen, sorry.
Yeah,
No, I agree. I'm sort of in two minds myself. I mean, it would make a huge difference if the traffic laws were enforced when people were riding them around town so that they would be more respectful at all times, including on bike trails if they're allowed on bike trails.
right. Yeah, I agree. And I think that, with the bike, and it's people on regular bikes go the wrong way. And that is more of an enforcement issue and an education issue. And we have really good bike programs, but those are still, issues that have to be taken. We need to educate people and just like, you don't go against the traffic.
Yeah,
And it's not kids necessarily that are doing it, it's adults.
no, right,
Mm.
exactly.
It's And they think they're safer because they can see what's happening, but they're not safe. So, so I think Complete Streets is a place to do that, or, but, and not
Okay.
us, of course, but
All
to
right.
encourage them. And that, I guess that in terms of the e-bikes, it's a pros and cons.
Okay, I'll follow up with Complete Streets and see where I'll get
Yeah.
a sense of exactly
And
that.
yeah. And I own a 50cc motorcycle scooter, that kind of scooter, and they only go as fast as an electric bike, and I have to have a license.
Yeah,
I have to have a motorcycle license.
And
I
a
have to pay
helmet.
for a license. I have to have insurance. I have to wear a helmet. I have to pay everything.
Yeah.
So there's that.
yeah, I think the whole green thing becomes a bit of a distraction, frankly.
Yeah.
They are really taking off. So, all right, I'll report back. I'll liaise with Complete Streets, and then just the one other thing was that Complete Streets is also making a proposal or joining its voice to a proposal for this idea of a sidewalk improvement district.
Mhm.
And I don't know how that dovetails. Does anybody else know about that?
Just what you told us.
Okay.
Well, and I mean, it was in the plans for a long time before Kristen Wilson left. And before there was like a little hiatus on sidewalk improvement district, there was a lot of discussion about it. I think the development of whatever's come up till now. But if it's actually being moved forward now as an actual resolution, then that's action that wasn't, or a law, I guess it would probably be a local law or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Right, and I'm sorry, I probably don't have accurate language. I'm kind of new to this, but so it may well be a resolution. But certainly it's something that would require a public vote.
oh, so maybe it's a referendum.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because if it's a district, that requires, the district is a way to basically collect money, like
Right.
user fee money.
Which is
Yeah.
obviously the issue with the sidewalks, because nobody, there isn't the money. There isn't the money to fix up our sidewalks, and we need to figure that out somehow or other.
I think it is a
Mhm.
referendum,
Okay,
Mhm.
which
Cool,
would,
but-
which would need to go, which would be on the November ballot.
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
great.
our I guess for the CAC, it's just walkability and, making sure that the street trees are, the
preserved,
connection
yeah.
between sidewalks and street trees and shade and so on.
And carbon capture as well, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on that as well and report back. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Planning board,
Well,
Kevin, is there anything new?
we covered Kingston Meadows above. The only other thing, there's a clarification on, I had mentioned a 2-16 Montrepose Avenue. That isn't actually coming back to the planning board. It only came back for a lot line adjustment. And I think there was a disagreement among neighbors over the lot line. And it had to, there was a settlement reached and it had to be approved at the planning board for a lot line adjustment. So I don't think that project is actually back.
Okay,
Yeah, that seems to be what the story was there.
public safety. Ted,
Yeah, I just summarized the report. Not much to report back, though. They only asked one question, which was who are the new members. So yeah, that's it.
did we get assigned a new liaison?
Michelle is still the liaison.
And
Okay.
Michelle wasn't there. They do have quite a brand new makeup. I can't remember exactly who's there, Barbara Hill, Tony Davis, and a few other people.
Yeah, Michelle is still the
Okay.
liaison and she gets all of our communications.
Okay. Thank you. Climate smart.
Climate smart. Okay, let's switch over to climate smart. Find that January 20 something meeting here. Here, climate smart, okay. Okay, here's the draft minutes of climate smart. Okay, thank you for bearing with me for a second there.
Yeah.
Okay, the 2030 climate action plan, Julie reviewed that with the commission and announced that it's now up on Engage Kingston. So you can all look at that. if you like.
Oh,
EV
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. A further report on that was that EV charging stations at Block Park, Garrigan and North Front Street are expected to be implemented in 2022. There's no fee associated with the city EV charging stations, although some stations not run by the city may charge a small fee. We had one of the council members there, Carl Frankel, and he was discussing this as well. And he, particularly with different types of EV chargers, and that got into a bit of a technical discussion of, involving level 2, which is presently used in Kingston, and level 3 chargers, which are faster and may be coming online shortly. Ellie reported on refrigerants, but I don't think there was anything really more than what we had discussed at the last meeting. There's been some discussions of an amnesty day for bringing, white boxes, air conditioners, refrigerators, etc., to DPW. Julie reported on the city sustainability projects at Kingston Point Park. Phase 2 had received the funding, which I think we had covered that in a previous go round. And we discussed the community preservation plan, which we discussed here with more current information, so we don't have to go there. Let's see, what else did we have down here that looks important? The organics plan is still close. I don't know, Julie, do you want to give us an update, or is it still close?
So close.
Still close, okay. Okay, we reviewed the Earth Fair here. We reviewed the Earth Fair over there as well. And let me see. Oh, yeah, we had a discussion that started with Roberto Rivera, one of our commissioners, about Public Service Commission net metering fee and tariff schedules for solar installations, which he believed could discourage solar. Ellie Gartenstein didn't believe that would affect the Andy Murphy solar project. And then we were, I think we threw the Public Service Commission order into the chat. And I can throw that into the chat over here too, if anybody wants to look at it. But it would seem that the fees are increasing, and it may make like rooftop solar not as attractive with the net metering fees going up. That was the gist of the story. It's pretty technical, these Public Service Commission orders. I think that was one of my great educational experiences when I joined the Climate Commission, was having to immerse myself in reading these things. So I think with that, we're pretty much done, except for social media postings. I think Melissa Iachetta was posting on the climate action plan on the solar mapping project. that she's been discussing with Mana Joe and Sustainable Hudson Valley. And she was going to put up some information on the Climate Smart Facebook page on Arbor Day tree planting grants. And I can give you the Facebook link to that if anybody wants to go over there and check out anything further that we're doing on that commission. And with that, I think we're done with Climate Smart.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, let me see. Oh, I'm next. Okay. Okay, one thing that I would want to say is that this next meeting, which is 15th. Is that next week then, the 22nd? Let me see, 16, the 23rd. That's the last Wednesday in the month, right? Yeah. So on the 23rd of February, our guest speaker is going to be Judith Enck of Beyond Plastics. So you might want to attend that. I will send you the Zoom link out when it comes, but if you listen to WAMC, you hear about Judith Enck. You know about Judith Enck, that she was an EPA administrator, and now she formed this Beyond Plastics, which is to try to reduce plastics. By the way, also just for your information, like, apparently the Resource Recovery Agency is looking into going back to more source separated materials as opposed to commingled. And I'm not sure if that's going to be in collection carts or if it's just at transfer stations. But it's pretty amazing that's mixing it all together has been problematic. Okay, so then we actually had George Profis at the CAC meeting, and George Profis works at the I just want to say one more thing about Judith Enck. That letter I sent you, the sign-in letter, Judith Enck was part of writing that sign-in letter on the extended producer responsibility. So that may be part of the topic. And then so at the AMC meeting, that's what I wanted to talk about. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just taking a little break. The George Profis, who is the urban forester for DEC, spoke. And one thing that I thought was interesting is that they are starting to kind of say trees are not just, I mean, I feel like his pitch changed a little bit, where trees should be considered not just for carbon sequestration, but we really need to think about is for shade and for cooling, because it does take a long time for that sequestration to kind of take hold. And so I thought that was kind of a little different take than I've heard him speak before. But it was enlightening in the sense that, yes, it's not just, when we take a tree down, we lose that cooling. And I'll refer back. I mean, I'll refer back again to the one time in Worcester, Massachusetts, that they had a massive infestation of something, and they can tell how much hotter the town is from losing all those trees. The heat island effect. And then I think that all the towns, as I said, it's hard for me to report on the EMC because everyone is doing, they're doing open space, they're doing natural resources inventory, but they're also doing a lot of climate stuff that we are not doing. And so I sometimes feel like when I report out on it, I don't, you know, there's so much that everyone is doing that it's it is really good. And the same with the county legislature, and the office of the environment. So like the Office of the Environment is working on the, you know, as we talked about last time, what's that guy's name, Michael? That anyway, there's going to be more work on green businesses through the Office of the Department of the Environment, and also they are working with a legislative group to form. There was budget allocated to develop a recycling innovation center, which would basically be kind of a repair cafe and other reuse center to, you know, to divert waste and reuse and repair. So that's pretty exciting that money was allocated. Anyway, and then I also wanted to say that I'm in the League of Women Voters, and I should have done this in announcements, but forgot. The Joe Green is going to be a speaker on citing landfills in Ulster County on March 3rd at 7:00. And I can send that out when I have the Zoom for you if you want. That's open to the public, and it's in cooperation with the AAUW and the League of Women Voters. So I'm not sure I have the Zoom yet, but if I do, I'll send it. Okay, that's all.
Mike Dorsey.
Mark Darcy, yes. Okay,
He's in the county Department of the Environment. Yeah, he used to be a climate smart commissioner. He was at REPCO. Yeah,
I
Okay,
love that.
so
I love that we have a Mr. Darcy. That's very romantic.
yes. Yes, Mr. Dorsey, yes. Oh.
okay, so just some of I did not really take down action items, but some of them would be that
What about tree commission?
Tree Commission, I'm so sorry. Tree Commission, Anita.
We'll be glad to hear. I have nothing to report. We got postponed. We're meeting later this week. I'll talk to you next time. They're not getting many applications for new trees, though.
I'll be interested to hear what, how the discussion is at the tree commission after this ice storm that we had, and we lost an incredible amount of trees. To see what the new plan, if there's any kind of strategy to.
My impression was that the application process was closed. Is that wrong?
I don't know.
I think when I
don't
went to look
know.
on the site, I thought that it had been it said it was closed. Be good
I
to know
think
if it
it's
wasn't,
still-
because we lost a couple of trees on our street.
I think it's still open and not updated.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good
I
to
would
know.
assume that you could apply.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
In
And
terms
they
of
have,
the,
I
in
have
terms of
heard
this,
that they might do something in the fall for fall planting. So that's still an option too.
Thank you, Anita. So yours, it was just postponed. It didn't happen.
Right.
Okay. I feel like one of the things when something like this happens, it is, it's when people are, they will either get a generator or they will say, wow, I would really like to use that fireplace that I haven't cleaned in a long time. Or they did use a fireplace, but those kind of things are kind of somewhat stepping back, but it's really nice to be able to have a fireplace to stay warm. And so so it's going to be interesting to see that. And then I just wanted to know, is the city picking up all the branches if they're on the side of the road?
Yep.
Mine got picked up. Yeah, my car got hit by a tree.
Oh,
But luckily not too badly. But yes, they did. Actually, they were very diligent. They came and cleared it all up certainly on Fair Street.
Yep, they're gonna continue to do so.
so it's just like you put it out and they'll come by eventually or whatever. Mhm.
Yep.
Wow, that's a big, and people can also apply for funds if they need it. Apparently. Anyway, like if their house got damaged or something.
Yeah, there was like a resource fair held in City Hall, and there's another one maybe Friday. And there's a couple more around the county for all different services related to the storm.
And did they get very many people to go for the warming center at the Andy Murphy Center?
Not a ton. At the most, it was 20.
Wow.
But 20 more than nothing.
Yeah.
And they also set up a mobile unit for pets, which is the first time they've done that. So a lot of people actually brought like dogs, like not a lot of people, because there weren't a lot of people here, but the people that did brought pets with them. And so they actually had a mobile unit for pets as well.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I'm sorry. So now we're just going to do some next steps. So the community preservation plan, we're going to be looking out for anything that we need to, for the advisory council and anyone, and submit some more names to Julie. If you can think of anyone who might want to be on that committee. Since the citywide rezoning, there's some meetings and trail walks or whatever. I guess, and Helen might keep talking about the Flatbush Foxhall. Individually, you can do anything about the pedestrian bike master plan. I guess we decided not to submit anything on our own. I'm gonna send in the Kingston Meadows to the planning board tomorrow. Ted's gonna send, who's gonna send in the year-end report?
Ted said he already covered it. So at this point, I'm fine just sending it all to you so you have it and posting it on the website.
So we don't have to send it to the, what's their?
The next time that Ted goes, he can just say it's posted on the website.
Okay, great.
If I email them, or Tony or Michelle, could I just email them and then not go? Or should I be there?
I think that you should be there because it's, in theory, it's a dialogue.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I will do that.
Okay, and then Anita and Emily are gonna look at the Climate Action Council draft. I'm gonna look at the Extended Producer Responsibility Act. If you guys want to read that, you have the information. You're all gonna think about other issues that you might want to take up. Helen was gonna work on something about the Franklin and Henry Street trees. Was there anything else that anyone said they would definitely do besides just our regular responsibilities? All right. Okay, and I encourage you to all to read all the information on the community preservation plan that Julie put up on the website if you haven't, and you know, or look at the Kingston Meadows information. Yeah. All righty. 8:23 I have, so
Your motion.
motion to adjourn.
Motion,
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Okay. Aye. All right. Adjourned at 8:23. All right. Have a good evening.
You too.